Well, good afternoon. Welcome to Get Real with Rick Dancer, and we're inside Cesar Chavez. Did I say it right? Chavez Elementary School in Eugene, Oregon, because there's this really cool new program going on. That's Dave Kammerer, so he doesn't have to be silly standing back there. He's with Summit Funding, and Dave is our sponsor. The reason Dave sponsors a show like this, hey CJ, is because he's really into the arts. Music and the arts, and bringing those back into the classroom. Hi, Mike Clark, City Councilor, right there. And so this is Eric with the Lane Arts Council and the Rotary Club in Eugene, Oregon. You guys, that's what a community is. This is what's so great. So Dave gets in part of this, Eric's in part of this, the Rotary in Eugene sponsors this, and what the bottom line is, it brings resident artists into our schools. So these are professionals teaching our children art. So art is kind of a dying species in education.
Yeah, unfortunately it's been cut pretty hard across the entire county, especially in elementary schools. There's almost no elementary schools across the entire Lane County that has any form of art built into, visual art specifically, built into the school curriculum. So what the Artist Residency is able to do is we have a short amount of time with students to be able to expose them to a really specific form of art to get their hands on the craft and really get practicing. So it's been a lot of fun.
So Dave, so what are they doing here today?
Yeah, so they're working on, with Amy Albrecht, who's one of our teaching artists, and they're working on watercolor today. And it's a part of a bigger project where they're creating identity collages. And that's where they're creating pictures that represent their personal experiences and identities. So really cool pieces.
So art is, you grew up in that. I mean, so for Dave, it's like you grew up with parents who were University of Oregon music teachers.
Well, actually, one of them worked in the school district too, and I remember art's getting cut from the school constantly. Then they got it back in the budget, then it got cut again. So it's very important that we bring this to the kids.
What I think
we go to the basics, and sometimes the basics don't even get covered, but we got to cover this because it gives balance to life.
Well, and I think for like art, especially like music or drawing and all that is that's the one language we all understand.
Yeah.
So we have all this foreign language and everything, but here's something that's right there. I can look at a picture and we can all kind of relate to it in our own way, but it's you don't have to define it for me.
Yeah, definitely. It's not just that. It's not just that common language. It's also the skills that are learned through art. That it's resilience and it's creativity, it's communication, it's learning how to take your ideas and pull them from your brain and externalize them, which is something that everyone needs in the workforce. And this is training kids from a very young age how to become professionals that are great.
And this is the thing that connects so many kids to education.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
You go to the Servview Center, where a lot of our kids that get into trouble go, you would see art in there, and those kids are amazing, but there's nothing to connect them in the schools, and so they end up in trouble because they have this creative stuff that they need to get out in somewhere, and we don't provide something. So this is doing that.
Definitely.
Don't forget about tolerance and empathy.
Absolutely.
So how does the Rotary get involved with this?
Yeah, so ArtSpark is a big fundraiser that happens every single year. It's actually happening this Thursday coming up at the Shedd Institute for the Arts. And it raises money to be able to put residencies into every single elementary school across the 4J school district. So the residency today is one of them that was funded from last year's ArtSpark event.
So what is ArtSpark?
ArtSpark is a collective effort put on by the Rotary Club of Eugene to basically come together and have a one-night event where there's a silent auction for art, there's a wine wall, there is performances, there's tons of fun, and everyone commits funding to be able to support art in the schools, just like today.
So when is that?
That's happening this Thursday, and you can learn more about it at artsparkeugene.org.
I think it is.
Okay, I hope that's the right one.
Okay, so who's your artist in the classroom here?
Yeah, so this is Amy Albrecht, and Amy Albrecht is a professional artist in our community, and she works mostly with charcoal and watercolors, and so today she's teaching the students right now watercolors, and they're experimenting with a few different techniques.
Okay, all right, let's go find out. Amy! Hello, Amy. Welcome to Facebook Live. You guys, This is Amy. We have to get our lighting right because this classroom, it makes us go in and out. So you are a resident artist.
True.
So what do you do in your real life?
I guess this. I mean, when I'm not in the classroom, I'm outside and outdoors a lot because a lot of my life is motivated by the outdoors. So even my artwork. So I like to be in the mountains.
So when you come in here to a classroom, what is this? What are you doing for these kids, do you think?
Well, I guess I'm just hoping to expose them to both materials, techniques, and new concepts and ideas.
Why is that important, Amy? I mean, as an artist and for these kids?
I think a lot of art concepts can sometimes be abstract and scary for people. Just like when I was in elementary school or even middle school or high school, math was a really abstract concept for me, and it was really hard to understand and grasp. And so I'm just trying to like offer a space where we can explore. I like to really focus on process and exploration more than like a final product. So that's actually what we're doing today, is we are exploring with watercolor paints. We're exploring with techniques. And then after today, we're going to kind of switch gears in our mind, start talking more about concepts, symbolism, identity. We are then going to go into like a much bigger project in that way. Yeah.
So this is really important to you.
I would say, yeah, it's definitely a passion. It is my passion. You know, I wasn't always sure I wanted to be a teacher. I always knew I wanted to work in art, and now that I'm in the classroom, I've been doing this for a few years now. I think it's hugely important work to be in the classroom, be exposing our youth, and no matter the age, to all of these materials and all of these works, basically.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Amy, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no. Amber?
Our colored pencils are back at the back table.
Hello there.
Hello.
So you are?
I'm Amanda.
So
Miss Amanda.
So Miss Amanda's the teacher here, and I just have to throw this in. So she and my son used to play together when they were kids, and her mom, who also works here in the school, was the babysitter and took care of these two.
Yep.
So you grew up to be a teacher.
I know. Apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
So how does this help the kids to bring the resident artists in the classroom?
Well, being it increases focus, so if they have the ability to work through an art project and see it to the end, it teaches them to do that with all of things in their life, as well as organization and planning.
Do you find there's some kids who just don't learn? Art is a great way to teach them, that it's an open door for them to see other things, math and all kinds of other things.
Yes, we see in pictures first, so if you want to use your whole brain to learn, you better engage the right half too, and a lot of that is with art.
So how long has this been going on in your classroom, and what kind of difference have you seen?
This is our second artist in resident in our second session. So we were doing a mural for our first artist in resident session, and that turned out beautiful. And this is our second painting session, and I can see the stress level go down with the kids, especially with state testing coming up, and they just really enjoy it and get a chance to express themselves.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting us come in your class. Okay, ladies. Oh, I'm going to come here. I'm going to sit down here with you. All right, so who are you?
I'm Taylin. And I'm Stella.
Okay, talk really loud so people can hear you, okay? So what do you like about this program when an artist comes into your classroom?
I like that we have the choice to do like a lot of different techniques. Same with Stella. I like the different techniques and just doing art.
So what did you do before this, before you had this resident program in here?
We mostly did math, writing, reading, and all that.
So this is a lot more fun.
Yes. Yeah.
And is this yours?
Yeah.
Would you show that to people? Because you got to see what she's done.
Okay.
I think this is beautiful.
Mine's over there.
Okay. Look at that. So you get to explore and do different kinds of things then. That is so awesome. Well, thanks for talking to us, you guys. All right, where are you? And who are you?
I'm Bella.
You're Bella?
I'm Bella C, but my name is Faith.
Your name is Faith? So what do you like about this whole thing?
Art really, I love art because it really makes me sure. It takes all the stress out of me, and I like this because you get to design, you get to like play with different kinds of things and see what they do.
So when you say it takes stress out of your life, what kind of stress do you have in your life?
So like there's hard stuff going in my family, but when I do art,
Is it like an escape then?
yeah.
Is that so? Are you pretty artistic? So that's really your outlet. Mm-hmm. So when things get hard at home or people at school or things like that going on, you can sit down and this can help you to escape. And you're good at it, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
Yeah.
You can look at me when you talk. You don't have to look at them.
Okay.
So how old are you?
I'm 11.
You're 11 years old. So this is a really good thing in your class.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know you were this good at art before the teacher came in and showed you? You didn't?
No.
So has that kind of opened a door for you?
Mm-hmm.
You're very smart, very articulate girl. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. I'm going to show you guys. Here's what's going on in the class. So Faith over there, you guys, again, this is Dave Kammerer. So Faith over there told me that she says when she's having a really stressful day and when things are kind of stressful at home, and she sits down, she gets lost in art. So she's escape. She escapes in art.
That's healthy.
Why is that important? I mean,
Well, I see a poster on the wall that says how to calm down, and we are emotional beings, and art is it's probably a very healthy release for her.
so to live in a town where people, the Rotary cares, where the Lane Arts Council does so much stuff in our community to bring art into the classrooms. You guys at Summit Funding, you're always sponsoring stuff with the symphony and kids going to the symphony, and whenever there's a performance. Well, the last time we did a performance, they had a special night during the days they took field trips with kids to the symphony to expose them to different kinds of music. So it's not just bang, 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 bang.
Yes. Well, children they're a big part of our citizenry. I mean, they're probably the most important citizens when it comes to art education and music education. Art education encompasses everything, not just visual arts, but musical arts and performance arts.
Now,
And
another thing
gotta
they-
engage the kids.
Another thing they do with this is, hey, Eric, come here for a sec, because there's other kinds of classes. Tell Dave and these folks about the other types of computer graphic kind of classes.
Totally.
Art, okay.
Yeah, so we've got a few different residencies going on over in the Bethel School District where they're working on digital storytelling, which is using iPads and different free online apps to be able to create stories in the digital form. And so that's stories of origin and stories as a collective that they're working on together as a classroom. So some really powerful, beautiful pieces have come out of that.
We tried to get in that too, but in the schedule just didn't work out. But it's like, so these kids are actually learning to tell their own story on.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a huge thing, and that's really important in those digital storytelling residencies. Olive Del Sol is the artist who's leading that, and that's such an important thing to her, is learning how to tell a story, how to communicate story, and how to create a really dynamic story as well. So it's not just personal, but it's also well told.
Why is that important? Why do our kids need to understand that?
Oh, I mean, have you ever listened to a presentation where somebody rambles a little bit off topic, and then you kind of sit there wishing that they'd get back on it?
Pass experiences forward into history is what you do.
Absolutely.
Do you think, okay, now here's kind of a weird, heady kind of thing to think about. So Native Americans, they did this naturally.
Oh my gosh,
And
yes.
our grandfathers and grandmothers, I know all the family history, but we don't do that anymore. So we're teaching our children how to pass that on.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you actually brought that up. We just had the Northwest Arts Integration Conference this last weekend, and we invited Esther Stutzman, who's a native storyteller local to the Willamette Valley, to come up and share stories, because that's the tradition of arts integration. I mean, that we think that it's a new concept to be able to use art to be able to educate, but it's something that so many communities have been doing for so long, and it's about us learning from history and being able to really bring that back into today's context.
It's a natural part of being a human being,
Yeah,
actually.
100%.
Isn't that what a totem pole is?
Kind of.
A story?
Well, I don't want to
visual
speak
art-
on
it's a
behalf of
visual
No, but I mean,
communities,
and also like in the
yeah.
caves, when they go in Egypt and all these
Totally,
different caves,
yeah.
Native American caves, you see
Storytelling.
it's telling us what happened, and we think we've kind of lost that with some of the social media. So you're actually using media like this to bring that back.
That's the goal. Yeah. And along the way, they're learning technical skills that'll be needed in the future careers. I mean, they're saying that in 10 years, every single job is going to be a tech job. And so it's also giving this as a foundational kind of
It'll be
framework
attached to
for them to be able to
tech.
grow into.
And story is like, I mean, that's what I do. I mean, that's what a lot of people, it matters to people. You hear things people are talking about. I don't care what you do, but why do you do it?
Yeah. Me? Are you asking?
So now I'm going to ask you. No, that was making a statement, but now I want to know.
Well,
so why do you do this?
Yeah, well, I do this because art was such an important thing for me growing up. Theater was where I found my voice and where I found my community. And the more that I see theater and different forms of art being pulled from the schools, I mean, that breaks my heart, because I know that there's students who absolutely need this to be able to be successful. It's
critical.
And so being able to be a contributor toward bringing art back into the classroom is something that is really meaningful for me and helps me feel that the work that I'm doing is leaving an impact on our community, and specifically impacting a number of students in our community, young people who are their future.
So, Kammerer, now it's your turn. So, you do mortgages. Summit Funding is a mortgage company, so Dave helps people fund their homes. The basis of probably our biggest investment of our life. So, since he answered the question, I think you should answer the question too.
It's
So
fun
why do you
doing
do
what we
what you
do, but along the way, you got to share experience with people, and the broader experience is, the more fun you have getting to know people. And arts is the basis of my experience with practically everybody.
But in your job, why do you do what you do? Why do you
People
give-
need houses. I help them get houses.
But it's more than that. Because I've talked to you before. You love seeing something, the look on somebody's face, the
I love
challenge.
connecting people. I like bringing them to the point where it's an unknown becoming a known, and they're sure, and they like having somebody who's a guy along the way who's confident and can take them there, and I love being that person.
Well, and you also love, because you get hard stuff. When other mortgage people give up, Dave goes in and goes, we can make that happen.
Get her done.
We can get it done. I know how to do that.
Challenges are fun. There's a competitive side to me, and I like to win. So when there's a challenge, I like to make sure it happens. And it's a lot of fun to be the guy that figures it out. So that's a competitive side of me. But those are challenging, complex things in what sometimes looks like a simple business.
So you guys, again, this is the Residents in the Art program. This is professional artists in the classrooms in Eugene and Bethel schools. Are we in Springfield too, or is this Eugene and Springfield?
We're all across Lane County.
All across Lane County. So they bring artists in the classrooms, and these kids get to a professional artist here. Oh, here we go. I guess we got some dance going on here.
We're mixing in some performance art with their
Performance art with your other stuff. So again, you guys, we are in Eugene schools, and but this is throughout Lane County. Kids learning art because of great people like the Rotary bringing this program. We couldn't do this without the Rotary.
Absolutely.
So they bring this here.
And the Eugene Education Foundation and 4J Schools.
So 4J Schools, Eugene's Education Foundation, and we're here today because of Summit funding and the Lane Arts Council. So what other things do you have coming up? I get your emails all the time. So
In regards to arts education or Lane Arts as a whole?
just whatever you want to push.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Well, give me one. Just give me one thing you can throw out
Yeah,
here.
well, I will say one thing to look forward to is the first Friday Art Walk in July. We're going to have a showcase of the digital stories that were generated through our Mozilla Gigabit Community Fund grant, and we're also going to have a showcase of our Arts Apprenticeship program that we have going on in partnership with the University of Oregon Product of Design Department, where middle school and high school students have been working on creating their own individual products. So we're going to have a showcase going on at the first Friday Art Walk. Really great opportunity to see other arts education programs going on.
So we should thank Mozilla because Craig's going to be at our thing tonight with ONE. So
He deserves thanks.
He does good things. He helped get that grant so that you guys can make that possible.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
To help fund that. So one last little topic is you guys today. Dave and I are in a networking group called the Oregon Networking Exchange, and we are a tight-knit group of people, but we're always looking for other folks to get involved, but the teacher's talking, so I don't want to get in trouble. So we meet at 3 o'clock, or 3:30, excuse me, behind Dickie Joe's, and if you want to show up, we'll buy your first soft drink or beer. That's how it works, yeah.
That's how it works.
I'll end up buying it, but I'll buy
Roll
it
it.
for you. So that's today, Dickie Joe's, 3:30, and it goes till 5 o'clock, and we'll guide you through the process. Just tell them Dave and Rick sent you. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you, Rick.
Yeah.
Fun.
Hey, Eric, thanks, man.
Eric, way
Thank
to
you
go.
so much for
Appreciate
tuning
it.
in,
Yeah, you're like a
everyone.
totally pleasant dude. So just take this and spread it. You guys share this on your page, and tell people that art is back. We're bringing it back.
Here to stay, right, bro?
That's right, man.